Hi, everybody. My name is Ramsay Brown. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Mission Control AI Public Benefit Corporation. And today I want to talk about what happens if it works. But before I do, quick show of hands. Who's excited about the singularity? It's a pretty high, like double digits amount of percentage. Who's familiar with the etymology of the term singularity? Right. So John von Neumann predicted first in the 50s that we get to this point in time where humans would completely lose control over our own environment, and it would not be unlike passing over the event horizon of a fucking black hole, for which that's where we get the term singularity. So we're like, woo, black hole party. Everyone's very excited about going over the edge of the black hole. So I'm interested in seeing what we can do to cheat physics here through tools of metaphysics and get data back from the other side of the event horizon about what the techno-social fabric might look like, given that everyone who's doing work in this room succeeds at it. This is not what I do for a living. I run an enterprise and defense-oriented human and machine collaboration technology towards synthetic labor called Mission Control AI. We're responsible for helping your militaries, credit card companies, and the people who make your TV shows and your wine do so more effectively through human and machine collaboration. But I'm at Vision Weekend, so it's my chance to get weird. So like I said, I'm interested in seeing what we can learn from black hole cosmology that would be helpful metaphors for thinking about the socio-technical fabric around the singularity. And I want to give a couple caveats to all of this because this talk is like, writing this was like trying to nail Jell-O to the ocean. So I want to give like at least one massive caveat ahead of all of this. When I say, what if it works, I don't mean to say that that's going to be easy. Every single person who's presented in this room today or every other room is definitionally doing a Herculean task. The important thing to remember about Hercules is that his tasks and his challenges do nearly kill him, but he does succeed. This is not to say these tasks are Sisyphean or quixotic. I think we can achieve these things. If I didn't, I think I would be on a beach in Thailand whittling away my days. At its core, I think one of the challenges of our time is sensing black holes clearly in its metaphysical sense. The story of the 21st century will largely be to retrieve data from across the cultural and technical event horizon of everything that's being done at Vision Weekend and use that data to navigate an elegant path forward. And this is not one of the many most important parts of what it means to do good futures planning. And I'm interested in understanding what the 2042 to 2052 timelines are shaped like in the great case scenarios where all of this works. Hence the title of this talk, What If It Works? Good answers here are elusive, and not for want of trying. We live in the highest rate of change period in human history, and this is only continuing to accelerate at a greater pace. To use the Foresight tech tree metaphor, the challenge of talking about the future is fundamentally one of trying to model a hyperdimensional, complex, massively adaptive, multiplayer, non-equilibrium system with more hidden variables than we'd care to admit, for which almost all of the interesting facets also reciprocally cause one another. In this sense, the future feels, at times, less like storytelling and more like molecular dynamics simulations, but almost all of the atoms are invisible and it's all van der Waals interactions all the way down. Professionally, though, I work in AI. This is what I know best and have dedicated the past 15 years of my life, both academically and professionally, to grapple with. So my lingering questions are largely around AI, namely, what will the impact of industrial scale synthesis of economically viable human-like intelligence and behavior bear for mankind? Just as the Haber-Bosch process and the industrial scale synthesis of, in this case, ammonia, used as a dual-use technology both for raising us from 1 billion to 8 billion people in the 20th century and as a weapon of war, fundamentally resculpted the human condition, as did the industrial scale synthesis of the use of petroleum products to reshape the 20th century, so too will the industrial scale synthesis of cognition. And in the pursuit of bad answers about the future, we could imagine the different facets of life. I have a completely non-exhaustive list of the affairs of man up on the screen. And we could imagine the different facets of life that could be impacted by intelligence that was too cheap to measure. And we could use some thinking tools to map the likely impacts of these. But almost none of these would be particularly useful predictions except for the most trivial, because this is not a monocausal relationship. In fact, every other facet impacts every other facet, and the influence of AI on this does not happen in a vacuum. As AI impacts each of these facets of man, those facets in turn impact AI back, as well as other facets and themselves. And therein lies the complexity demon. If inventing a secure and prosperous future is Herculean, trying to predict what it might be shaped like across the event horizon might actually be quixotic. So I'm not going to try to give you bad answers, but I am going to try to give you good or at least fun metaphors. Those are tools for which we can think more clearly about all of this. It has been described that there exists this hypothetical point in time in which the rate of change, breadth of change, and sophistication of the underlying mechanisms of change are so sufficiently fast, broad, and subtle that people become unable to understand the world around them, let alone affect meaningful impact. And past the event horizon of this moment, we cannot see. That's why it's an event horizon. That's why we call that thing the singularity. You can't see past the other side of it. And it's not that the system is out of control per se, it's just out of human control. It's past this event horizon that I think we wish to see. And I think the cosmological metaphors are helpful in not that they allow us to play fast and loose with thinking tools that help us maybe look to the other side of a thing like that. In particular, I think there are two metaphors from black hole physics that can help us make more sense of the weirdness of that future. Should it all work, and should Foresight get it right? The growing mass of emergent technology, like the things we're discussing this weekend, will and do currently and will continuously deform the socio-technical fabric. Just like the rubber sheet metaphor of the deformation of space-time, we can look for signs in the socio-technical fabric, and these can be felt even readily today. The vibe shift is upon us. And emergent technology arriving from the future is in some sense ageographic. While it's true that the future does not distribute evenly, a useful metaphor is that the event horizon is arriving to us temporally, not spatially, which means that some of the spatial reasoning we use from cosmology might not metaphorically apply here. Instead, we get to figure out if the event horizon arrives all at once everywhere simultaneously as a monolith or as jagged edges. The tech tree advances at different paces and at different rates. Different components arrive at different times. And it appears more likely than not that the event horizon will arrive partially, slowly, and then all at once. And this is not incompatible with the fast takeoff scenarios. As that horizon arrives, we want to sneak a peek at the other side. Here's a couple handy metaphors for doing so. To the best that we can tell, we get these from the study of history, and these are some of the things we'd want to use as things to be paying attention to as different parts of the tech tree dip across the horizon. The first is attending closely to the transformation of things that were once human scale to non-human scale. Attend to that point in which scale changes. We should seek to map the existing incentive structures and how they realign, warp, or deform across the horizon. We want to attend to changes in friction, that which was hard becoming easy and vice versa. We would seek to study diaspora, the motions of people, ideas, energy, capital, and material from one point to another. We would watch for the emergence of superpositions in which seemingly contradictory states of people and systems have to be held simultaneously in sensible fashions. We would look out for changes in time, how it is felt, how much time actually matters, and who experiences it differently. We would seek to identify dual-use technologies and be aware of the increasingly weak distinction between civilians and combatants in this world. We would pay attention to embodiment shifts, especially where ideas are capable of instantly transmuting into capital. And we look for new equilibria points, shifting in real time, and seek to find these new places for which systems converge. This is a deeply imperfect and incomplete list of thinking tools for envisioning flourishing futures, yet each of them may help us make better models about the shape of things to come. And we would want to do that, and it's not as tautological as it sounds. We'd want to model the future because we have skin in that game. Not to say the obvious part out loud, but the future is us. We will have to live there, and we will have to live there soon. And we do have strong preferences for what kind of world we want to live in. The sheer forces of change will, as we approach that event horizon, test our virtues and definitions of good lives. New ideas that are better fit for that changed world will separate like wheat and chaff. Bad new ideas will not survive. Strong old ideas will carry their mimetic inertia forward. Hollow old ideas with empty cores will structurally fail. And it's through these lenses and metaphors that I try to see what matters most clearly. What I see is that human eudaimonia and flourishing, as some of the pillars of things like foresight, don't tend to go out of style. I see that the Lindy virtues and values that we've based civilization on to date are strong and flexible. Their deep roots have grown ideas that bend without breaking. Not everything that we value today, though, will be what we value on the other side of that event horizon. But what I'm nearly certain of is that an appreciation for the pursuit of truth and beauty embodied in this organization and in the hearts of the people here and who are leading these lines of research, everyone in this room, may be equipped with a better compass for navigating our pathway there to that event horizon and through to the other side. And there are few things more impactful than applied scientists who've read a little touch of philosophy, as it grounds us back in that pursuit of truth and beauty. So please, take these shabby thinking tools and sharpen them with me. Take these shabby compasses and true them, and use them both as we navigate to and across the event horizon towards more flourishing futures. Thank you so much.